Welcome home. Here, pain turns into wisdom. Here, questions turn into clarity. And here, women turn words into change. We are excited to have you here every Fridays at 3 p.m. So, get comfortable. The journey is about to start.
When we say we are women, we mean that we are brave, we are strong, we are capable, we are unique, we are woman to woman.
My name is Ayanda from Durban.
Hi, I'm Minette from Durban. Hi, my name is Matabelo from Durban.
You know, when growing up, obviously you want to get married first before having kids. So the one promise that I broke to myself was having a child at a young age, unmarried.
This year I actually made the promise to lose at least 20 kg. But then ever since the year started, I haven't been to the gym. I'm not dieting. So instead of losing, I've actually gained more.
The promise that I made to myself is that I would respect my parents, but I ended up not respecting them because I hadn't made a decision to actually respect them. And that affected my relationship with my parents in terms of that we weren't communicating effectively.
Good afternoon, South Africa. Good afternoon, Africa. At least we did not break our promise. Here we are on a Friday, 3 p.m., connected with you. Good afternoon, Toko.
Good afternoon, Marsha, and good afternoon to our viewers.
You know that breaking promises is something so common, and we have no idea of how we make things difficult for ourselves because of the promises that we broke.
Yes.
Before we dive into Mashudu's story, and you're going to see she broke them all and how that happened, Toko, you have a test for all of us, isn't
it? Yes. I have a test for everyone. This includes us in the studio as well.
I'll get these girls behind the camera to answer to that as well.
I have 3 questions here that it's just questions that are normal and people usually do this. They break these promises, these simple promises, because we say they are simple and easy. Mm-hmm. Then you think you will never break it because it's an easy promise that you made to yourself. So the first one is, have you ever promised yourself that you would stop eating a certain food, like cake, example, sweets, juice, only to find yourself eating the very thing you swore off?
Who wants to answer to that?
That is the first question. Yes. Yeah.
I broke it.
Yeah, I think that one everybody. Yeah, and then the second one is, have you ever told yourself you would spend just 5 minutes on social media, but ended up scrolling 20 minutes later?
No, that one I didn't. And I didn't need to promise myself because I'm not that taken by social media. So that one is easy for me. Mashudu.
I definitely have broken that one.
Another one. You're going to see the many she will relate today. Toko, you didn't answer.
No, this one, no, not really. Because, for example, when I plan something, I stick to that. Especially if either watching TV or whatever, when it comes to this, I'm very disciplined.
Let us see now the ladies behind the camera. They said yes or no.
I have broken it so many times.
Confessions of our technical team. I also have Precious here behind the camera. Chalky, yes or no?
Yes or no?
I have 1,000 times.
Yeah.
She
the first one we've broken
times.
it all. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Now the third one, the last but not least. Have you ever made a list of New Year's resolutions only to ignore it by the end of the year because you didn't reach the goals? I've done it.
Me too.
I have.
Yeah, you have as well.
And we have spoken about why that happens, isn't that? But we would like you to comment here.
Exactly.
No?
Yes.
Don't only appreciate our honest answers, be honest as well. And now we are going to hear it all from Mashudu's story.
I promised myself I wouldn't become a side chick
because I believe that those who are side chicks are desperate and they don't value themselves. Good afternoon, Miss Marcia and Miss Togo. My name is Mashudu, and I have broken a few promises, which I will be telling you about. So the first promise I broke to myself that I made, I promised myself that I would not be a side chick, and I found myself engaging in a relationship where I ended up being a side chick.
Really?
Yes.
How did that happen?
How it started was when I started out in the work of God, I was a bit experienced. I didn't know much about the work of God or what I was doing. But there was this guy in my region who encouraged me. He encouraged me to become more involved in the work of God. He encouraged me to partake in the movements of faith that we were doing in the church. So from there, I became more interested in doing what he was doing as well, because he was also in the work of God. So I started in my journey with God, in the work of God. So along the way, this guy showed interest in me. He showed that he was interested in me, and I felt comfortable because this was a man of God, I believed at that time. He was an assistant. So as he was showing interest in me, we started dating.
Was he single?
At the time that I met him, I believed he was single. So we started dating. Along the way, I found out that there actually is another girl. Whether she came in between our relationship or before, I am not sure of that. But yes, I found out that there is another girl involved, but I continued with the relationship. Because the guy promised that he would leave the girl, he promised that I mattered more. So I was confused. I felt betrayed, but I still wanted to be in this relationship with this man who helped me grow in my faith, this man who introduced me to the work of God.
So you believed in him, and when you were aware that there was someone else, that was not a stopping point for you to say, I don't want to continue. You continued in that relationship.
We continued. It was not a stopping point. I would say we did have a bit of a hiccup. We did have problems and a few arguments. However, he assured me that I was the one who mattered, and eventually he would leave her. So I had that sense of security that he will leave her and he will be with me.
Did he leave her?
He did not leave her.
What happened?
He did not leave her. So eventually the girl found out that we were in a relationship.
So was the girl from the church as well?
She was also serving God, yes.
Oh my God.
She was an assistant as well?
Yes, she was also an assistant. So I believe the girl insisted that they have their relationship reported to the pastor. So along the way, they reported their relationship to the pastor, and I was now, because he used to be discreet with our relationship and hers as well. So I would not see anything. He would not post anything. But after they went to report to the pastor that they were dating, I started seeing posts. I started seeing that, okay, this person is actually in the picture. However, he still assured me that I was the one who mattered, and I believed it.
So you saw the posts and you still believed?
I still believed.
You didn't look for the pastor to say, hey, there is something wrong here, because I also date this guy.
Eventually I did, after some months of back and forth, asking him, crying alone at night, and eventually I did speak to the pastor. The pastor showed me that this is not right. I shouldn't be with the guy. That's how we both took a break from, we lost our uniform at that point.
Now,
Yeah.
did you remember the promise you made yourself that you would never be involved in such kind of relationship?
I did remember the promise I made, and besides the promise, I looked at myself and said, okay, I'm here wanting to serve God, but I'm betraying I'm being betrayed, and I felt like I am betraying God, but I still continued because of the assurance that he kept on giving me.
And that dragged until when?
It dragged for a very long time. It dragged for a while. We got to a point where there was a time when we used to go to stadiums for the Good Friday events and so forth. So we went to an event. When we got to the event, because me and the guy were in the same region, we left together. So we were most of the time together. So we left the stadium together. And the girl passed in front of us and she saw us. And that was like, afterwards, it was a very painful moment because I could literally see the pain in her eyes when she saw us passing together. She looked at us and she called him to the side. I'm not sure what they said to each other at that point, but you could see that she was not happy, that seeing us together, he had probably promised her that he's leaving me or it's just her now. However, she saw us together and we were laughing, we were okay. So the guy told me, I think a week later, the guy told me that they met up. He and the guy met up at the girl's place and they slept together. So the guy confessed it was his way of trying to apologize to her in a way. However, I can't confirm whether it was the first time they had done it or if they had done it before. But however, they did sleep together. A few days later, the girl got an accident and she passed away.
My gosh, I feel sorry to hear about that.
It was very painful because I felt like it really, what's the word?
You felt like it was your fault. Like you sent a soul, like...
I felt very guilty because I felt that I caused her to probably lose her salvation. I don't know at what point she was at when she passed away. However, before she passed away, she had slept with the guy. And I felt like I was part of her pain in the last few years of her life because she knew that I am with the guy that she loves and the guy is betraying her.
But also, of course, it was not your fault because you didn't force them to sleep together, to break God's law. And it's so unfortunate that she passed, and we pray and hope that in the last minute she reconciled with God, but automatically because you broke your own promise, you saw that going into such consequences, you felt guilty.
I felt guilty. I was blaming myself for everything. I felt so much guilt.
How did you deal with this blame? Because if we understood correct, none of the three of you were wearing your uniform, were serving God, because the three of you were found into mistakes. Because of course, in the Universal Church, we're not going to endorse this kind of thing. One guy dates two dates, no. The things from God are very clear.
True.
The blessing of God does not bring, what is the Bible?
Add sorrow.
Yeah, does not add sorrow. So how can you be happy in a relationship that there are three involved? But of course, we would never wish, and we would actually pray that it would not happen in that way. How did you deal with that guilty that you brought upon yourself?
So at that point, me going into the work of God, firstly, I knew that I was not born of God. At that point, I actually didn't know, but afterwards I realized that I didn't even know God at that point.
Because of the choices and behaviors.
Yes. So dealing with it, I was very frustrated. I was very confused with regards to my love life. And I felt like I had to meet someone else in order to cover that space or that gap that he had built inside of me.
You felt lonely.
Yes. I promised myself I wouldn't date outside of the church because I believe that people who did so were not serious with God.
Now, Mashudu, after everything that you went through, you see that you first broke your first promise. Did you learn from the mistake, the first mistake, like, okay, because I broke the promise and the consequences were so intense, so I will never do this and this and this? Did you continue making other promises and learning from the past mistakes?
At that point, I didn't learn from my mistake. I still broke other promises that I had made to myself previously. So when I learned more about my relationship with God and trying to get closer to God, I knew that I need to focus more on biblical things. I need to focus more on the church, the things of the church, the movements of faith inside the church. However, I found myself then focusing outside of the church. And that's when I then met a guy outside of the church.
And broke your promise.
I broke my
again.
promise and engaged in a relationship outside of the church.
Even though you had promised yourself and you had been through the consequences of the first promise that was broken, you went outside and how was that relationship?
I went outside, and initially in the beginning, the relationship was great. The guy I had met outside the church, he was going through a rough patch with his previous girlfriend. So when I came along, I gave him that opportunity of leaving that girl. So he left her, and I saw proof of it. That gave me a sense of security, a sense of value.
Like he left her for you.
He left her for me, knowing that I came from a relationship where the opposite happened, where I didn't feel valued, where I didn't feel chosen. So this guy chose me. This guy is from outside. He doesn't know a thing about having a relationship with God.
So you felt like this one was better than the one who apparently knew
Yes.
about God.
Yes, I felt like this one, he actually knew how to value me. He actually knew how to treat me better. Even though he was outside of the church, he didn't know God. I was like, this guy knows how to treat me well. After having such a bad experience inside the church, going out gave me such a peaceful and good experience at that moment. Yes.
But did it continue like this?
It did not. It did not continue like that. We had our problems, we had our arguments, and it was after some time, it was not peaceful at all.
What happened?
And you continued coming to church?
At that point, at the beginning, I was not coming as I used to come to church. So I would come to church, but now because every time I go there, I'll feel guilty, I'll feel accused, I'd feel like everyone is looking and seeing what I'm doing. So I would not go every time. I would go on some Sundays, and I felt like that was at least keeping some sort of relationship that I had with God. So in the beginning, he made me feel special. He made me feel loved. He made me feel chosen. He made me feel safe, knowing that he will be there no matter what happens. We started having ups and downs along the way, where the mother, he had a child in the previous relationship. So that woman came back, and she was now not allowing him to see his son. So he started using the son to get back to him, to try and get to me, to try and frustrate me in a way, if I can say. However, it would bring confusion and frustration and a bit of arguments in between us.
Strain as well in your relationship.
It was straining us. However, he still showed me that this doesn't matter. He loved his son. The one thing about him is that he loved his son. He wanted to be there for his son. However, now this woman using the son against him was causing a bit of a problem, because he now wants to be with his son. However, he wants to show me that he loves me and he wants to be with me. So even though I could see it and it gave me comfort, our relationship took strain because she kept on making demands. She kept on frustrating our relationship.
Yeah.
What were the main points that you would fight about?
Mostly, we would fight about because now I came from an unstable relationship previously and I came from feeling insecure. I would accuse him of cheating. I would accuse him of having other relationships outside. And because I couldn't see anything, I felt the need to investigate. I would check his phone. I would check up with his friends when he's not around.
How would he react to that?
He did not like that because he knew that he was faithful. He didn't like that, and it also caused a strain in our relationship as well.
So for the people to understand, our viewers to understand, the fact that the woman with his child came into the picture made you insecure. You felt insecure. That's why now you started searching his phone, looking for things, accusing him. Was it like that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now we spoke about, you broke the first promise and you said, I felt terribly guilt about it.
Yes.
You made another promise to yourself. I will never date someone outside the church.
Yes.
Then you broke it again.
I broke.
But right in the beginning, you didn't feel guilty about that. You felt guilty before God, but not, as a matter of fact, about the promise that you made to yourself, because it was working well.
Yes. Yes.
When things took a turn, did it come back to you again? I broke a promise.
It would come back to me at every point. Like, as I was also trying to avoid going to church to feel the guilt, whenever I went, I would feel guilty. I knew that because now with this guy, we are doing things that I know at the church we're not allowed to do.
You were intimate.
We were intimate, yes. So I knew that I was now breaking another promise with God, being intimate before marriage.
Because you said you would not.
Yes.
So promise number 3 broken.
Yes. Yes. So I would feel guilt, and it also caused another strain between us because I would then feel guilty and want to put restrictions in our relationships. And those restrictions I wanted to put after we had been together for now years, a few years. Mm-hmm. And to him it came as, why now? Why now do you want to put such rules?
It's like you want to control him.
Yes, like I want to control him. I want to take charge of the relationship. It was now causing problems between us.
Did he know you were from the church, or at least you would tell him you would attend church?
Yes, he knew.
What were his views about that?
He knew that I was from the church because when we met, I was still coming to church, but along the way I then distanced from the church. So he knew that I was coming to church. He knew my boundaries because when we met, I had told him that we can't do this, we can't do this. I can't come sleep over at your house. I can't. But along the way, I got persuaded, and we started doing those
So when
things.
you started being intimate with him, was it because you wanted to, like, because you were insecure now? It's like security. If I give him my body, we are secure in the relationship.
Yes, you could say I wanted to give him security because when I met him, I knew that he had a child. I knew that he's a guy from outside the church. He's obviously been sleeping around. He's been doing all those things. So I now didn't want to, I wanted to as much as he gave me love, I also wanted to give him a sense of comfort in our relationship.
There is something with breaking promises that it seems that it becomes a habit. And because you broke one, you end up breaking the second, the third, and there are more promises you broke. We call it the ripple effect. So let us watch how many people have had that ripple effect in their lives when they broke one promise.
Have you ever watched what happens when you drop a stone into water? At first, it's just a tiny splash, barely noticeable. But then the ripples spread, wider and wider, touching parts of the pond far from where the stone first fell. That's the ripple effect. And in life, it works the same way. One small choice can set off a chain of reactions, sometimes in ways we never imagine. It might start with something as simple as checking your phone while driving, just a few seconds, but those few seconds could cause an accident that changes lives forever. Or it could be something like telling yourself, I'll skip gym today. And before you know it, weeks have gone by. What started as one small excuse becomes a habit that's hard to break. The ripple effect reminds us that our choices, good or bad, don't stop with us. They spread into our work, our relationships, and our future. But the same way one wrong decision can spiral, one right choice can start a positive ripple too. Keeping your word, showing up, saying no to something that's not good for you, these small moments can build a completely different outcome. So, the next time you're about to make a decision, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what kind of a ripple am I about to create?
Yeah, indeed. Many people break the promises, and as you mentioned, this is true that it becomes habitual. It's a habit now. You break one, you say, okay, I broke that one, I won't break, but you see yourself breaking the other one. So you, the viewers, if one of you is going through the same as the moment, at this moment that we are speaking, maybe you are going through that, you are breaking your promises all the time, or you once broke promises or a promise in your life and you suffered the consequences, leave your comments for us.
Mashudu, there was one more promise that you broke. Let us watch.
I promised myself that I would not have a child outside of marriage because I thought that I would first plan my life, plan my finances, plan my relationship with God, and have everything set before I could start a family.
So you promised never to have a child out of wedlock.
Yes.
And you broke it.
I broke it because now I had initially planned or thought that I would want to have a stable financial life. I want to have a place of my own. I want to be serving God. And so I wanted to start a family knowing that all these things are in place. However, now because the guy's previous girlfriend was now always pestering him, I felt the need to compete with her. So he asked to have a child, and I was a bit hesitant in the beginning. However, when he kept showing me that he was there, he kept showing me that he's not going to leave. He's going to be there. He's protecting me. He was protecting me from the insults the girl was throwing. So I felt, okay, let me just give him what he's asking for.
So it was not an accident. It was planned.
Yes.
How about the promise?
So, yes, it was not an accident. He asked to have a child. And for a while, I was still a bit hesitant, but eventually I agreed. And now because I wasn't going to church as I used to, and now when I felt pregnant, I felt ashamed to go now show myself at the church. So I became even a bit more distant.
Let me ask you something. Did you two ever speak about getting married, having a structured family, or that was not in the discussion?
We started speaking about it when he started asking for the child. So I told him, because now I also have that image of I was once serving in the church, and now if I go back and I have a child, what are people going to say? So I wanted to at least now say, okay, let us then get married. And then even though we have a child in between, as long as we get married. So he was not really in support of that, because he's more of a cultural person. He wanted to now first build the lobola money, and yeah, have ceremonies and stuff. So I told him that I'm not bothered about those things. So you should just worry about what I want. So now that argument also caused another strain in our relationship, because now I want us to get married. He wants a child. I'm willing to give him a child, but he's not willing to give me what I want. So yeah, we did talk about that. However, he at that point he was not.
Now, when you spoke about getting married, was it because you were embarrassed that you're going to have a child out of wedlock, so let's get married? Was that the reason?
That was the main reason, yes. Yeah. It was not anything else but to say, okay, now I'm going to go back to church. Whenever I go to church, they're going to see the stomach growing.
Yeah.
And I'm not
And
married.
your parents, where were they in all these things that is been happening? I'm just wondering here, you are with the guy, then let's get pregnant and all that. You thought about the people in the church, what are they going to say? What about your parents? Did you think about them?
The only person I worried about was my mother, because my mother is also serving God. And now I'm worried that what is she going to say? But at the back of my mind, I'm like, but she can see that I'm not in the church as I used to. She should understand that I'm young and I'm tempted. She should understand that eventually I will get to this point. So those were the thoughts that were going through my mind. I was afraid of what she would say. So I made sure that before the stomach started showing, because she had not known that I was actually dating outside of the church, I then had to introduce
Oh gosh, she was completely blind to the fact that you were already in a relationship with someone who's not from the church.
Yes.
And then you come and say, Mom, besides that, I'm pregnant.
Not at that point. So I had to first introduce the guy so that she gets comfortable with the guy. And when I saw that she's comfortable with him, I then started wearing clothes that would show that, okay, there is a stomach here. And then she saw, but I didn't admit to her. I only told her after a while when I saw that now there's no hiding it. I had to admit to her. So that's when I told her that I'm actually pregnant. And because now I knew that she knows the guy, I knew she wasn't going to ask who's the father. There weren't going to be so many questions. She'd just have to accept the situation.
Was she disappointed?
She was very disappointed. Yeah. But
At this stage, you were not disappointed with yourself.
At this stage, I was a bit proud of myself, if I can say, because now, okay, I managed to give this guy what this girl could give her, could give him. And now we are not going to break up in my mind. I'm thinking we're not going to break up. We're going to have a happy relationship. We're going to build a happy family. And yes.
Did it happen as you planned?
No, it didn't. It didn't. So because now, so after some time in the relationship, I had the child. I had the child, and then
A boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
A boy.
Yes. So I had my son, and then along the way, I decided to just come back to commit fully to God. At first, it was not so easy, and it was not so easy. I did not come full force at once. I came gradually, and then eventually I decided, okay.
But what made you to think about coming back to God?
What made me to come back was more of, I was fearing for my salvation, because I looked back, because with this guy, there were times when he'd say, let's go to this party, let's go do this, let's go with my friends. We'd go, we'd drink, and I saw that I was spiraling out of control. So I felt like I needed to come back. And at first it was so difficult, because I'm now so into the world, so into enjoying what I was doing. Yes, so.
And how was the relationship after the baby was born?
After the baby was born, the first year was okay. However, the guy then lost his job, and I was the only one now providing. And it started becoming challenging financially, and I felt I was now becoming the man of the house. I was now supporting.
But you guys were not staying together.
No,
You were still staying with your mom?
I was staying with my dad. My
With your dad.
parents
And he
both
would
stayed.
come and visit you and the child.
Yes. He would come visit us, but when he comes, I've already bought nappies, I've already bought things for the child. He didn't have to provide anything at that point because I knew that he didn't have anything to provide. So we then, it was very challenging in our relationship at that point. And we started growing a bit distant. And now, because I now wanted to go back and fight for my salvation, and I'm now coming again with restraints with the guy. You can't come and sleep over. I can't come and sleep over. It's now causing another knock on the relationship. However, now at this point, because I had decided that I want to grow my relationship with God and I want to fight for my salvation, I had to come to a point where I decided to end the relationship.
You had to be firm.
I had to be firm with myself. I had to remind myself of the promises that I had initially made to myself. And I told myself, okay, it is going to be difficult, but if God allowed me to get to this point, He's going to allow me and help me to get through it. So that's when we broke off the relationship, and I started engaging more again in the things of God. I started investing in my relationship with God.
Mashudu, you had been on a roller coaster of guilty, not guilty. Promises, breaking promises. When you decided to come back and stand firm for your decisions from that moment on, and who knows, maybe become faithful to the promises you would start doing to yourself, what was your emotional status?
At that point, I was very low, because now I'm coming back to try to build my relationship with God. The first thing I was worried about were what people were saying about me. So I felt very accused, very ashamed. And
But now, did people accuse you?
no,
Because that is important. Some people, they think that maybe I'm going to go back, and there are those who are going to call me names and do this, do that. Did someone mistreated you?
never.
It was just a perception you had.
It was just a perception I had. I was never mistreated. I was never looked down upon. When I would come with my son, people would laugh with him. They would play with him. They
So
welcomed us.
you're not even judged, isn't it?
I was not judged. So when I felt welcomed, I then was like, okay, so I can do this. I started coming more to the church and keeping my mind entertained with the things of God, because when I was home, I would then start thinking of the guy. I'd start thinking of how now I'm with a child and I feel like I'm now alone with the child. However, I started engaging more and bringing myself closer to God, and that gave me comfort.
Because there's something, Toko, we need to mention here. And it's time that you out there become aware of it. Yeah, the guy took responsibility. He might have given a name. He might have had provisions. But who among the two of you take the highest toll? You, because the guy does not carry the baby. His body does not go through transformation. If he's going to feel embarrassed by that, he doesn't, because no one knows how many children he fathered. If he provides or not, no one will demand from him. So who takes the biggest toll? The lady.
Yes.
Until now, who has to take care of your child?
It is myself. So whenever I have to think of going anywhere or doing anything, I have to first consider, okay, there's my son. I need to first see if he's okay. I need to ensure that he's at school or he's fed. I need to always make sure that he's well first.
That's true.
And when he falls sick, Who's going to spend the
It's
night
my
with him?
responsibility.
Yeah.
I need to either miss work or whatever the case at that point.
So I'm sorry for the guys out there, but it's very easy for you guys to enter into relationships without the links of commitment, because at the end of the day, you're just going to say, I have a boy, I have a girl, and I provide, or I gave my name. But the actual work and the responsibility, if out of the wedlock, it's very rarely on your shoulders. It's always on the shoulders of the mother, the girl.
Now, when you are single, it's even worse. It's even worse because now you are alone. You are not married with this man, because the ones that get married, you know, and then they have children. At least even if he's not there, he's working very far, he comes December, but you have that sense there is a father who will come with something, providing, coming to spend time with his children. But when you are married, it's not, when you are not married, it's not like that. It's totally different. So the strain is more on the woman.
Today, how are you?
Today I have built my relationship with God. Today I'm at peace because now I don't have to worry about, if I ever see that guy, what am I going to do? We have a good relationship now, a friendship. We have a good friendship for the sake of our son.
Co-parenting.
We are co-parenting well for the sake of our son. I'm at peace with everything that I've been through. I'm not worried about my love life. I'm just at peace now.
But which promise have you made to yourself now? And you are not prepared to break it?
Now, the promise I've made to myself, firstly, I'll be faithful to God. I'm not prepared to break that promise. And secondly, with regards to my love life, is just to be patient and trust God.
And to do it according to His plans.
Yes, to do it according to His plan and His will.
Don't break this promise.
I'm not going to.
I'm going to share with you God's point in this. And I know you are waiting for me to read the Bible verse that says, when you make a vow with God, do not delay in fulfilling it. That's not our Bible verse of today, because that talks about a vow with God. And sometimes we are good to keep few promises with God, but not always with ourselves. So I wanted to read for you Proverbs to bring wisdom to us today. Proverbs 19 verse 8 reads, "He who gets wisdom loves his own soul. He who keeps understanding will find good." Sometimes we don't break our promises with God, but we're very good to break the promises to ourselves. And in that, we are lacking wisdom, because every time that we choose one behavior, we are choosing automatically consequences. So in the simple example, I'm not going to eat this because that causes heartburn. I didn't make this promise to God, but I know that I'm going to hurt myself, hurt my body if I eat that particular food. So wisdom, the one who gets wisdom will love his own soul. I don't want to fall sick. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to disappoint myself. I love my soul. So I'll keep the understanding, and I will have good consequences to the promises that I made to myself. To keep our promises to God, that is undisputable, because that will protect us and lead us to salvation. But also, we need to learn to keep the promises to ourselves, because we can spare ourselves of so much disappointment. Now, of course, when we break our promises to God, the consequences are much harder. Isn't that so?
They are very hard. You know, you even think, what have I done? what have I done? Because, with God it's different. With yourself, you still have that thing, but with God, because everything starts with Him. So when you break the promise with God, the consequences are painful because, I always tell people that if we offend God, where are we going to run to? You might offend man, but you'll run to God. But once you offend Him, where else can you run to?
So what it all matters for today?
Yeah, so what it all means today, what it all matters, you see that Mashudu, she made a lot of mistakes. She made promises, then she broke a lot of promises. She didn't learn from the first mistake. The first thing I would say to you, when you make promises to yourself, do not do that out of emotions, because decisions that are made out of emotions, they do not last. Because it's just a moment. It's just for that moment, then later on you fall. And secondly, learn from your mistake. If you committed a mistake, you failed in something because you broke a promise, learn from the previous mistake that you made. You have to look back and say, I did this, I am not going to do it again. Because if we don't learn from our mistakes, it's easy for us to fall back and repeat them each and every time until we learn from them. And then another thing that I want to say here today is that God's mercy never ends. You see that with her, though she committed so much mistakes, she broke a lot of promises, but God accepted her back. She came to God and God did not despise her. God did not say, you did this and that. So, starting pointing fingers on her. Not even the people in the church. That's the beauty of it. And that's what I love about my church. We don't judge people. So you have to understand that if you fail, do not remain down. Stand up and go back to the hands of God, because God will not judge you for your past. As long as there is repentance inside of you, He will accept you and help you become a better person, because the mistakes that you committed where you failed can be a stepping stone to a greater you as a person. So just don't, because some people, what they do, when they fall or when they fail, they remain down. Yeah. They just say, I believe God has given up on me. God never gives up on anyone. Human being can always give up on you, but not God. So come back to God and promise again that I will never do this and this, but now with the purpose of aligning yourself with the plans of God. Then you will see that you will stick to your promise.
And I would like to pray today, mostly for those who, when they made a promise before the altar of God and said, I'll never leave. Temptations, circumstances, ill treatment, weaknesses have taken you away. And you want to come back. You want to find the strength. You want to find the strength to be faithful to your own promises and to the promises of God. And you're not finding your way. So we're going to pray that today it may be a turning point. Let us pray. Our Lord and our Father, how merciful you are, because we have broken promises to you, all of us. We are doomed to mistakes. If we break promises to ourselves, if we disappoint ourselves so much more, we end up disappointing you. But the beauty of it is that you are never disappointed at us to the point of rejecting us. My Lord, I know there are women out there, and men alike, who are so tired because they're trying to improve their lives. They make themselves promises, they set goals, they make resolutions, and they can't be faithful to that. However, Lord, when we seek for the strength in you, first of all, we don't make promises that we are not able to fulfill. We are guided by your wisdom, but by your understanding. And we will be making promises, setting goals, making resolutions that are according to your plan. And once it's according to your plan, though not easy, but possible to achieve. So I pray, my Lord, that those who broke their promises, either to themselves or to you, and they are right now dealing with the consequences of those broken promises, thinking that there is no way out, thinking that there is no reconciliation, that you assure them through your word that you are waiting for them, that they can come back, they can make amendments with you and with themselves. And if they purpose today to commit their promises, their plans, their goals to you, you will guide them on how to fulfill those promises, because you are a God of victories, not a God of disappointments. And your plan for us is to make us victorious, to lead us in victory according to your will. So I bless them with the understanding that if they learn how to keep their promises to you and to themselves, they are going to have a good end. The consequences will be beautiful, and they can start it today. I pray, my Lord, that they make the decision to start today with a new chapter in their lives, upholding their promises to you and promises to themselves. And I pray in Jesus' name, Amen. So we hope and pray that just like Mashudu, how long is it that you are being faithful to your promises?
It's now approaching 3 years.
Congratulations. And from 3 years, it will go another 3, 30, 60, because while you look up to Jesus, you're going to honor promises to yourself and to Him.
Yes.
Amen.
And Christians, they have to stop being judgmental, because they're the ones who chase people away from the church.
Yes.
People are afraid to come back because they know that we have some Christians that will judge them.
Doing what God is not doing. That's the thing. So promise yourself not to be judgmental today. It's a good start. No? So we thank you very much. And of course, promise is not broken. We meet you here next week, 3 p.m. God bless you all.
Bye.
The first step to healing is simply reaching out. If you or someone you know needs support, email woman-to-woman@uckg.org.za or call 0800 330 320. Our toll-free helpline offers confidential, non-judgmental support.